The new year is just around the corner, and with that comes New Year's resolutions. Getting healthier traditionally tops the list of goals.
Oh, so joining us now to help get you started and head start, hopefully, on your New Year's fitness regimen is Chris Hendrick with Catalyst Fitness. Thanks for joining us this morning. And we're at a week from Thanksgiving. We're about 3 weeks from Christmas. People tend to eat a little too much for the holidays, and then of course we have that regret as our pants won't fasten as much. So how can we start working on that and not let our bodies get too far away as we head through yet another holiday?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is, don't beat yourself up, right? I mean, Thanksgiving is gone, it's in the past. I know we've got some busy holiday period coming up here, a lot of Christmas parties for folks who are at work. I think one of the things to keep in mind as you come into this period is have a plan before you go in. You already know all this stuff is coming, right? So instead of showing up at the Christmas party and being like, wow, look at all this stuff that I can eat or drink, maybe sit down before you go there and say, okay, here's where I'm gonna go. This is probably what's gonna be there. So, okay, this is what I'm gonna have. I'm not gonna eat, 5 desserts. Maybe I'll just try one, or maybe I'll just have a couple of drinks. I'm not gonna eat 2 or 3 servings. Maybe I'll just have one. So you're kind of prepared for the chaos before you go in there, rather than just going in and just being like overwhelmed and you just get sucked into everything.
Yeah, some people though, like it's winter time or getting into the winter, and they don't necessarily like the gym and they want to be outside in the cold.
Sure.
So what do you suggest exercises that people would do in the cold?
First of all, I think the first thing before, if you're exercising in the cold, make sure you get a good dynamic warm up in.
Okay.
Just make sure you're ready to go rather than just going out on the fly. You're more likely to get injured. So a dynamic warm up is definitely important. Obviously, if you are working out outside, you want to make sure you're dressed properly, right? You don't want to be getting hit by the weather, any sort of cold weather or anything like that. So make sure that the clothing is good. With regards to exercises, I've got a piece of equipment here with me this morning, a medicine ball. So if you don't have a medicine ball at your disposal, that's fine. The good thing about being at home, there's plenty of stuff around the house that you can grab, whether it be a gallon of milk or a book bag.
Canned foods, maybe?
Anything you want, exactly, yeah. So I'm gonna go through 3 exercises this morning that you can do. So the first one is a hay baler. So whatever weighted implement you have, you're gonna grab it. You're gonna set your feet up in a square stance. And so we're gonna squat and go low to the right. The eyes are gonna follow the implement, right? So low to the right, and then we're gonna go high to the left. And it's low to the right and high to the left. And you can do this for reps or for time, and then obviously you would want to switch sides, low, left, high, right.
And then does that do something for here? Is that
absolutely,
okay.
yeah. The other thing as well, when you're doing these, or when you're choosing exercises, you want to choose exercises that are working as many body parts as possible, multi-joint, different planes of motion. You're not just going in one direction, right? So you'll notice with these 3 exercises, we're going to cover all of those things, right? So that's the first one, is hay baler. All right, the second one is going to be squat, curl, overhead press. So again, we're going to start with square stance. You can get the feet a little wider than your hips, slightly turned out if you want. We're going to squat down, we're going to curl, and then we're going to overhead press. Nice tall posture as you squat.
That should have the weight. Just demonstrate this more. She's much stronger than we are.
How heavy is that?
So this is 5 pounds. This is 5 pounds.
Oh, wait,
go for it.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like this one. Did I do this one right?
Exactly, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Because with our economy, people are, inflation, people might not be able to afford that gym membership. So this is stuff they can do, in their backyards, in their basement, in the living room.
Sure, absolutely. And if you're just beginning your fitness journey, and maybe, 5 pounds might be a little bit even heavy, and that's fine. Well, maybe you do all this stuff with just body weight. And that's completely fine too. Okay, so squat, curl, overhead press is our second one. Our third one is going to be a lateral lunge with a chest press. So the weight is going to be here at the chest. We're going to step to the side, so the trailing leg is straight. We're sitting into that hip over here, and as we're down, we're going to push out right in front. And then we come back to center, step to the side, and back out in front.
Okay, what if you have knee problems? Is that okay to do that?
It's going to depend on the individual. Obviously, I would just make sure you're being cognizant of if you feel pain, you need to stop.
Okay.
Right? So kind of be your own judge on that.
Okay.
And every year, every January, you see an influx of new people to the gym, and then they kind of taper off as we head on towards the end of the month. So how do you motivate people? Because you're a trainer, how do you motivate people on their own to keep coming in? Because one of the hardest things to do is take that first step towards the door to go to the gym.
Right. The key is, I really think, is you got to keep it simple, right? Simple is scalable. Complexity oftentimes leads to failure. All right, so the more simple you can keep it, the better. Instead of, let's say you get, all right, January 1st comes around, you sit down and you're like, right, this is the year that I'm going to change my health and fitness, right? You sit down, you write down 12 different things that you want to do, and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do all of these 12 things in one shot. Change is really difficult, right? It's really tough. So trying to do all 12 in one shot, you're setting yourself up for failure. How about starting with one, right? So you do one in January. You focus on, let's say you want to sleep better, you're going to 7-8 hours of sleep. All right, I'm going to focus on
Why are we
sleep.
starting now instead of January?
Well, exactly.
Great
Yeah,
information,
absolutely.
great tips. Chris Kendrick with Catalyst Fitness, thanks for joining us today.